Hi everyone, my name is Michelle, and in this video lecture, myself, Ian, Nasr and Brent will be giving a short introduction to sustainability, but more importantly, the environmentally conscious processes involved when designing products of any nature. Sustainability can date back centuries, from as early as human existence and the evolution of mankind. What do I mean by this? In the days of hunting and gathering, societies would outgrow their local food supplies and resources, and they'd be forced to relocate, until civilizations arose and areas became established for long-term living. By becoming sustainable in terms of resources and things such as permanent housing and the agriculture. This all started out great until overpopulation and greed came into being, which forced the start of the Industrial Revolution of the 18th and 19th centuries. The biggest example of this time is the vast growth of energy in fossil fuels. Only in the mid-20th century, an environmental movement pointed out the harmful environmental costs associated with many of the material benefits that were then being enjoyed. These problems then very quickly became global in scale. The 1973 and 1979 energy crisis demonstrated the extent to which the global community had become dependent on non-renewable energy resources. And this is when the increase of global awareness of environmental threat increased. And so, the turn towards manufacturing processes in a more environmentally conscious manner began. Jason F. McLennan said designers should eliminate negative environmental impact completely through skillful, sensitive design. There are many disciplines of design which all need to turn towards environmental conscious processing, but they all share common principles when designing environmentally, such as using non-toxic, sustainably produced or recycled materials which have a lower environmental impact than traditional materials previously used. By taking care and using environmentally conscious manufacturing processes and produce products which are more energy efficient than traditional processes. A point which we all as designers need to keep in mind is to create longer lasting, beneficial products, which will not have to be replaced as often. When manufacturing and designing products, we need to be aware of the full life cycle of a final product and design for reuse or recycling. Lastly, it is to shift the consumption mode from personal ownership of products to provision of services which provide similar functions. Some examples of companies that have made the shift are interfaced carpets, which are carpet tiles, and Xerox, which is a copier leasing company rather than having to purchase a copying machine, and a Zipcar, which is an app for car sharing or carpooling. Ian will now be giving an overview of key terms and features we use when talking about environmentally conscious processing.
Thanks, Michelle. The first key point we'll be looking at is global environmental challenges. Companies face the concern of enhancing environmental problems that have a major negative influence on the Earth. Global warming, acid rain, depletion of natural resources, etc. These are the problems currently faced because companies are the ones speeding up these processes. Therefore, they are obligated to restructure their PPS, product service system, to serve for waste management, pollution prevention, etc. The second point we'll be looking at is strategic design for sustainability. This is because of the footprint and the growth due to consumerism is so large. Companies and design firms must strategically plan and redirect their designs to serve more than what the customer wants, but also to fulfill the needs of the businesses and the environment by reorientating current trends. Population growth is the next key point. Studies have shown that one of the major concerns regarding environmentally friendly living is that we are overpopulated, or in other words, we are increasing the number of consumers in the world. We'll now be looking at the last 2 points. First off, environmentally conscious manufacturing and product recovery, ECM, PRO. From the Industrial Revolution, the problem regarding the environment had not been addressed, and was not addressed because the problem was not as apparent as it is in the last decade. For the last decade, we have realized that the environment has been damaged severely by the manufacturing. Therefore, PSS innovation emerged. Companies would look at the different stages of the product and will also look at the product life cycle. Businesses would, however, be obligated to implement these systems or use the system as a base for designing their product. PSS, Product Service Systems, starts with the framework of the stakeholders looking at their relationship and understanding how the service can innovatively be reorientated using strategic design to create an innovative, sustainable future.
The overview which we have looked at focuses on green manufacturing processes and systems, a study where key factors which address environment depreciation have been evaluated and taken into concern. Where most concern is usually on the product being eco-friendly and self-sustainable. We as product designers often forget about the manufacturing processes involved, which is an error and something which is commonly overlooked, considering the processes sets the primary processing outputs and is the most important part of the product's life. It's proven that the use of recycled material reduces energy consumption needs compared to conventional processes used for manufacturing raw materials, which evidently use more energy, causes more waste, and the use of more raw materials. Sustainable manufacturing processes are a significant part of sustainable development. There is no use if we are able to create sustainable products which are eco-friendly, but the manufacturing process behind these products are not sustainable. It does not serve it any justice. Because the process could be way more harmful, and a sustainable product manufactured by this process cannot make up for it. Often enough, the manufacturing process is way more harmful than the product itself. This is a major challenge in product design industry. It is being able to design and manufacture sustainably, which is quite difficult. In order to create sustainable development, sustainable products, processes, and systems need to be implemented and used. It is important we calculate and work out what will result in making a sustainable product design and its manufacturing process sustainable as well. For these are the key factors of sustainability in product design manufacturing processes. Resources and materials also need to be taken into account. How it will be processed, manufactured, and the life beyond the manufacturing process.
Sustainability in design, you'll immediately start thinking about all the designs you know that have sustainable materials used or green materials. But what about the processes? That's what we're going to be discussing now, some examples thereof, especially in industrial design. So oftentimes people will highlight the best properties and then hide part of the product or part of the process that isn't sustainable. So keeping this misdirection in mind, we can understand that speaking of sustainability is speaking of an ideal that we can never really accomplish, but the more we try to, the closer we'll get to sustainability, and then improve the world around us. A good example is solar energy. No matter how clean the energy is that comes from it, the actual making of the panels is completely bad for the environment. It's terrible. So this idea of doing the best that we can is what we can now consider sustainable, especially in the processes of making the products. So even though IKEA itself mentions the fact that they like using wood, which is a nature sapping resource, they are doing all that they can to improve their sustainability. So they are centers for recycling. IKEA stores are actually centers for recycling. They recycle their own waste, and they even open the service to the public to recycle there. They also upcycle woods for their products. Therefore, even though they like wood, they're not using fresh wood from the forest and so on, so they're giving the earth a chance to breathe. They're planning to be off-grid by 2020, and they've even revised their farming techniques so that their cotton farming is more efficient and less wasteful with water and so on, not polluting and so on. They're really trying to make a difference in the sustainability to make it all-inclusive, all their processes from beginning to end, all the materials and so on. So as a whole, the process and the actual products are becoming much more sustainable. So definitely do yourself a favor and watch them, check them out every now and then, see if they're actually doing what they said they were going to do. So that's a really nice example. And then, but I mean, that's quite a big enterprise. It's quite a big corporation. So what about a smaller enterprise, something that will be more close to home for us, especially when we start? Well, there's a group called Pentatonic. They're young designers, and they only use recycled stuff. So the aluminium, the plastic, the fabric, everything that they use is recycled. The designs are also appealing. So I mean, you can see that it wasn't a trade-off. It wasn't like they considered being sustainable, but it really looks ugly or something like that. So they're doing the best that they can. Of course, it's not completely sustainable. Recycling itself is a harmful process. It's not completely green, but it's better than not trying at all. So though the processes that they're using aren't necessarily 100% sustainable, the way that they've set themselves up, and therefore the way that everything comes together, the process of designing, has become more sustainable.